You can count on it, XRP purchasers. Cryptocurrencies such as XRP, Bitcoin, and others were purchased by both Japan and BlackRock. Totally insane. I have to pat myself on the back for predicting that Apple will shift manufacturing of all iPhones sold in the US from China to India by 2026. Yet, there are other wild things going in the markets at the moment as well. Turning to, it has been my contention on multiple occasions that the US and India are conspiring to shift production away from China and toward India in order to improve their trade pact. It has already transpired. One could reasonably ask how this relates to Bitcoin in light of this. Everything new with BlackRock will be discussed at length in due course. However, this is of paramount importance as it signifies India's global economy will undergo significant transformations. This one shift will allow India to receive trillions of dollars over the next 5 years, which will cause the economy to boom in the near future. To put it simply, this will shake up our political system. These days, China and India couldn't be more dissimilar in outlook and objective. India, with a vast the population's number one priority is expanding its economy, and they possess all the necessary resources to make this partnership a reality with relative ease. Since India's policy is so different from China's, it's safe to say that this will lead to some wild cryptocurrency developments. However, as I mentioned before, BlackRock at Japan is pulling some fairly wild stunts, things. It seems like XRP is now gaining a lot of traction in Japan. It's obvious that XRP is helpful and solves some problem, which is why it's so popular among Japanese and South Korean cryptocurrency owners. On the other hand, XRP is now available on Mercari, Japan's largest resale app, which has over 20 million daily users. Program in addition to the cryptocurrency plus for only 1J consumers can purchase XRP with sales profits or points. A lot of people will be selling stuff on this trade app, which is similar to Facebook Marketplace, and they will exchange their Japanese yen for XRP. We've been waiting for this opportunity to adopt, and it's happening now. This will greatly increase the liquidity of XRP. I am speaking about commencing a series of subsequent actions. Not included here are SBI's holdings, which will manage inter-Japanese funds, or the numerous other major Japanese corporations that are integrating XRP into their systems. This time it's here. Metaplanet, a Japanese firm, just spent 1.92 billion yen to acquire 145 more Bitcoin. Quite a few Japan-based businesses are increasingly integrating cryptocurrency to their financial records by purchasing XRP and Bitcoin. These organizations are also simplifying the process for their customers to transmit and receive cryptocurrency and make purchases using it. Words fail us when we try to describe how fantastic this is. Finally, a use case that has eluded us in the recent flurry of major news and geopolitical events. I'm telling you this because I haven't been able to see it myself. It won't instantly cause XRP's price to skyrocket, but it will have a significant impact in the coming months as more and more people begin to hold and use XRP on a daily basis. However, there is another component to this puzzle. In addition to BlackRock, which I have already mentioned, central banks are interested in purchasing more cryptocurrency according to BlackRock, which is valued 11 trillion 0 cents. I want to show you this video since it's so bizarre. From BlackRock, this individual hails, pause the movie. There will soon be a split between US tech equities and cryptocurrency concerning the potential impact on international markets. Many are speculating that US assets could go for sale. Are you of the opinion that the day has come when cryptocurrency is no longer linked to US tax stocks? Asking yourself if your goals are short or long term should be your first step. In the near term, it's easy to notice how interconnected everything is. Looking back at the previous several weeks when the market was less insecurely, you'll see that the ties between trading equities, bonds, and cryptocurrency were stronger. However, when you step back and look at the bigger picture, you can see how Bitcoin's unique behavior is based on its long-term central principle. The correlation between Bitcoin and US markets over the long run is closer to a 2 or 3. Having a low correlation makes it an asset. This is due in part to the fact that Bitcoin is driven by many of the same factors that drive stocks, such as increased growth, greater predictability, and less global risk. When individuals are hesitant to acquire something because they don't know how it will behave, Bitcoin does very well. In essence, it should function as an object that is not associated with everything else. In addition, I believe that these assets will become more concentrated as time passes in this uncertain scenario. All right, Jay, we're talking about crypto or Bitcoin as separate, unrelated alpha investments with potential rewards. Regarding the direction, I would like to know if you believe that equities will continue to decline if the global tariff situation does not improve, or if you are hoping that it will improve. It would be reasonable if bonds depreciated versus the dollar, but cryptocurrency and Bitcoin continue to rise. Given the current global trend toward more uncertainty, we anticipate that assets such as gold and Bitcoin will maintain their upward trajectory in the long term. It is precisely this type of volatility that compels individuals to seek for alternative investments beyond stocks and bonds. It's plain to observe from the flows and buyer posture that people are seeking assets with the potential to behave in novel ways. For example, Bitcoin and gold ETFs have seen large flows of capital. Moving away from traditional assets, it's easy to point fingers at the president and the trade war, and toward assets like cryptocurrency and gold are positive developments, right? This shift probably started around 3 or 4 years ago, or even 2, 3. Many attribute this to events like Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the seizure of $300 billion, 0 cents, from the Russian central bank in a city in Belgium, which led to countries like China shifting their focus away from oil, should shift their savings out of the government's coffers and into assets like Bitcoin and gold. You make a valid point. Looking at other factors, though, reveals that global central banks have been diversifying their holdings for decades. As a result, there has been a long-term trend away from storing dollars and toward holding gold and other assets like Bitcoin. Yeah, I'll give you our concept of our actions, megaforces is the name of BlackRock's new thematic investment framework set to debut in 2023. For the first time, we realize that global fragmentation is a major factor that will shape the globe in the coming decades. Very intriguing. They're light years ahead of the competition. BlackRock obviously has a wealth of information that, while the majority of us do not, their intended message is rather apparent. With the economy in a state of flux, investing in Bitcoin, which they claim will serve as a hedge against the fiat money system, may be a better bet than stocks at the moment. This makes perfect sense given that crypto is accessible to everyone